What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the UFC 218 post-fight show. My name is Flyin Brian J, and tonight, once again, you are my co-host. So what we're going to do is recap all of the action from tonight's pretty freaking awesome pay-per-view event that happened in Detroit, Michigan. First thing I want to know from you is what post-fight letter grade you would give the card. It could be any rating, really. Post-fight rating, 1 to 100, 1 to 10, 1 to 5, or A to F. Doesn't matter to me. I'm going to go with the conventional American grading system, which would be, I'm going to go with a B plus from A to F. And if I were doing a 1 to 100, I would go with a 90, maybe 91, which could be an A minus. So I'm going to go with an A minus. Jose Vasquez is going with an A plus. Pena Tamu is definitely an A. Hector Espinoza is A plus. Jesse Page is making up a system, going with an L. Great card. B plus from Jesse Payne. Ty Gonzalez A. So you guys giving it an A. What was the highlight of the night for you guys? Of course, what we just watched a little bit ago, actually now, was Max Holloway basically put on a clinic against Jose Scarface Jr. Aldo, where he finished him TKO with punches at 4:51 of round number 3. So the original fight, this was the rematch. The original fight was almost exactly 6 months ago. It too ended in the 3rd round, but I think that the judges probably gave Jose Aldo won the 1st and 2nd round in that contest. Tonight, I don't know what the judges gave it, but I was doing a live video on MMA Mania's YouTube channel where I was talking about the fights the entire time, doing my best Joe Rogan, Mike Goldberg thing, where I just did some play-by-play for the fights. I gave the first 2 rounds for Max Holloway, and the 3rd one was on its way to being the most decisive round for Max Holloway, but nonetheless he got that victory. And a lot of people coming into this fight were saying that in the first fight, Jose didn't throw any leg kicks. Well, tonight, I think I counted, I don't want to throw you a number because I'm probably wrong, but there were at least 5, and I want to say there were 8 to 10 leg kicks thrown at Holloway from Aldo. And there were a couple where they were at the lead leg when Holloway's lead leg was firmly planted on the ground, and Aldo connected with one of them good leg kicks. But Holloway just basically disrespected them and kept walking forward, kept landing the 1-2, kept ripping hooks to the body of Jose Aldo. But at the same time, so it was worse for Jose because Holloway did better this time, but Jose seemed to have a little better cardio this time. Basically, I think it was because he didn't go for the finish in the 1st round because he never had Holloway hurt. In the first fight, you might remember that it seemed like he stunned Holloway a little bit. We could say Pow Lore says Aldo's gone due to injuries. TZ Shama says, if I was Jose, I would call it time. He hasn't recovered from the 13-second KO, and the UFC has evolved so much since Jose ruled. It's the blessed era at deal BFD. Maybe. Aldo's legs kicks gone due to injuries. Stipe will smash Francis Ngannou. Did you guys watch the fight card? Did you buy the fight? I want to know if you bought the fight card or if you watched it another way. Just let me know about that. See, the reason I want to ask that is because tonight on the YouTube channel, I did that play-by-play, and I was trying to do that as a free alternative to buying the card or dealing with an illegal stream. Because you want to know what's happening with the fights right now. You want to have the results in your face without having to deal with a time delay, but you might not want to pay the $60, and sometimes, not that I've watched illegal streams, but they're choppy, you might miss the action, they're kind of terrible from time to time, who really knows? But I want to know that, so you guys just let me know in the comment section. What's next? We got to talk, before we talk about Ngannou, I know a lot of people are seriously wanting to talk about Francis Ngannou knocking out Alistair the Reem over Reem at, I believe it was at 1:42 of the 1st round. What is next for Max Holloway? We should rebook the fight with Frankie Edgar. Frankie said he could be back ready to go in like 8 weeks or something like that, I believe. So Max should be rematched with Frankie Edgar. I think Max should be, pretty hefty favorite over Edgar. But then after that, we can talk about what's next. What's next for Jose Aldo? Josh Rochelle commented or sent me a message on my personal Facebook page and said that he would like to see Donald Cerrone versus Jose Aldo at 155 pounds. And I had no idea that could be an option. No idea that I wanted that. Both guys are at the tail end of their career. Both guys household names among, hardcore MMA fans. And yeah, let's do that. Let's do Josh Rochelle. Shout out to him. Let's do Jose Aldo if he doesn't want to retire. I know some people want him to retire. Jose versus Donald Cerrone at 155. So Jose going up, Donald coming back down from 170 back to his home at 155 pounds. And there's that. Now let's get to the WTF of the card, like I like to do after the co-main event before we get into talking about after the main event, before we get into talking about Francis Ngannou. The WTF of the card happened early. It happened against Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Sabah Homasi. It also happened in David Tamer versus Jacare Close. Herb Dean stopped the fight way too early in Abdul Razak Al Hassan. They were fighting in a phone booth, both Abdul and Sabah, and Abdul landed a right hand on the temple of Sabah, but Sabah was also going down for a takedown at the same time, and he hit the dirt pretty severely. He looked like he could be out, but he was going for a takedown, and he popped right back up. But anyway, Herb Dean stopped that fight, and the crowd booed and booed. I do believe it was an early stoppage. Whatever. The next WTF for Herb Dean was in David Tamer versus Jacare Close. Tamer is a counter striker. He's moving on the outside. He'll move away from a pressuring opponent. He'll counter their attacks. Jacare Close was the pressure fighter in that matchup. And Jacare couldn't corral Tamer to get some strikes on him. And instead of doing something to close the distance or to improve his ability to close in on Tamer, Jacare Close decided to just stand in the center of the octagon and go like, what the fuck, man? And he got Herb Dean to warn David Tamer for timidity. When Tamer was clearly doing his own game plan and Jacare Close just couldn't get the better of him. Like, what the fuck? So WTF goes to both Jacare Close and Herb Dean, because what the fuck, man? All right. Sorry to waste your time. A lot of people already left and don't care what I have to say about the co-main event. That's fine. I appreciate the rest of you for staying. Stephen Bell watched at a bar. Aldo is the second best featherweight. Aldo is too small for lightweight. Jose could fight Rodriguez maybe next. What Rodriguez? Yair? You want Aldo to fight Yair? Nah, I'm going to stick with Josh Rochelle's thing of giving Jose Aldo to Donald the Cowboy Cerrone next. Why not? So in the co-main event of the evening, Alistair Overeem fought Francis the Predator Ngannou, and earlier this week, or maybe today even, Dana White said the winner of that fight is guaranteed a title shot against Stipe Miocic. And Francis Ngannou came in as a minus 230 favorite, and he looked like a minus 1,000 favorite because, fuck, Reem was trying to do Jackson Winklejohn type of game plan. He was going to try to press Ngannou up against the fence, maybe wear on his arms a little bit, take away that punching power. But as Reem came in to try to do that to Ngannou, Ngannou used a whizzer to and his 15-pound weight advantage on Reem to turn into the fence, pressed him there, hit some knees to the thigh. When Reem was finally able to circle out from that position from being pinned against the cage, then they got into a little bit of a firefight. Overeem threw an overhand left and then was trying to come with a left hook behind it. And as he did that, he dipped his head right into a shovel hook or an uppercut from Ngannou that I swear lifted Overeem off the ground, sent him parallel to the canvas, and then dropped him straight down, unconscious as fuck. Sent him straight into the shadow realm, like to first class seat on an airplane to the shadow realm. Holy shit, Francis Ngannou is one scary, scary motherfucker. And then, if that wasn't enough, in the post-fight interview, Francis also was talking about slavery in Libya, or somewhere in Africa. Don't quote me. He said, pardon my language. fuck slavery, fuck racism, everybody deserves freedom. Hell yeah, Francis Ngannou. Knockout Reem with an amazing left shovel hook uppercut thing, and then do an amazing post-fight interview. His first language is French. He doesn't speak that fluent of English. He's fluent, but it's just like it's tough to understand for me. All around, really impressive stuff for Francis Ngannou. And Francis was like, you know what, I think I deserve a title shot after that. And Joe Rogan's like, my friend, you got a title shot because that was crazy. You just knocked out the #1 contender in the first round, like under 2 minutes. You deserve a title shot, my friend. So, you guys are talking about, yeah, Libya's right. Thanks, Sean Boseman. Wow, I'm fucking genius. David Snyder says that Overeem is prone to the KO. So before I talk about the matchup between Miocic and Ngannou, let me just say that I know that Overeem doesn't have the best chin in the world. And I know that Overeem has been knocked out now 11 times in his mixed martial arts career. He's been chinny as of late. He got knocked out by a front kick from Travis Brown. He got knocked out by Antonio Bigfoot Silva. But let's not kid ourselves here. That punch that Ngannou landed on Overeem would knock out any motherfucker on the planet. If he could land that punch on Stipe, Stipe's going to sleep too. Anybody. That was a fucking ferocious punch. The guy has like an 8-inch wide fist. It landed. He took that thing from like way back here, like behind his ass, threw that thing with as much, like he was bowling a 800-pound bowling ball or something, you know. Just, you get what I'm saying. That makes no sense, but you get what I'm saying. And whack, right on the face of Overeem. Put anybody to sleep. So for the matchup, what's next for Ngannou? Obviously, he's going to fight Stipe Miocic. Los Santiano says, oh my god, this guy in the red plaid shirt is annoying. Oh, you're the one commenting on my video, you son of a gun. That's all right, Los Santo, Sentino, Los Sentino. We can still be friends. Just be a little respectful next time, okay? Gosh, sorry guys, got off on a tangent there. I think it's a fun stylistic matchup. Look, I know the fight ended in 1:42, but there was a moment in the first round where it didn't seem like Ngannou's hands were that fast, and Stipe Miocic has extremely, extremely fast hands. But Stipe, I believe, is a lighter guy at heavyweight, and I hate to say it, but I would pick Francis Ngannou to beat him. I hate to look back so far on somebody's career as Stipe Miocic versus Stefan the Skyscraper Struve, but he did get knocked out by Stefan Struve, and I don't know. I might pick Ngannou to win that fight. And especially if Ngannou is the underdog, I would pick him. Because if you're playing DraftKings or something, or UFC Pick'em, it would feel like a safe way to get a leg up on your opponent. But, yeah, crazy impressive performance from Francis Ngannou. He's getting better in all facets of mixed martial arts. He's a huge, scary dude. He has huge punching power, and he's a likable son of a gun. He was homeless for a while. His post-fight interviews are good. His English is getting better every time. What an amazing force he's going to be in the UFC going forward. And what I like, too, if you noticed on the broadcast, his corner did a good job of making sure they put a body armor towel around him for sponsorship. So I don't know if he's getting extra money from Body Armor to do that, or if in the future he would like to snag some extra money from Body Armor for doing that. Either way, what a smart play by Francis Ngannou. Jesse Page says, we all knew Overeem was going to go to sleep. Yeah, we did, didn't we? And in hindsight, we really should have played Francis Ngannou via KO or TKO because he was only minus 140 in that with that bet. So you could have put $1.40 on that and got $1 back. That'd have been brilliant. But yeah. Ngannou's here to stay. That's easy. That's Jorge Figueroa said that. Looked like Overeem was trying to be a little lighter. That did not work out for him. Marcus Zachary's here. What's up, buddy? Body Armor already sponsors him. Thanks, Dingo Diggler. Well, smart move by him anyway. Okay, let's move down. Henry the Messenger Cejudo versus Sergio the Phenom Pettis. This fight right here is one reason why I gave the grade a A- rather than an A. Cejudo got the better of Pettis basically with wrestling. And Cejudo won all facets of the game, of this fight, don't get me wrong. Cejudo got the better of the striking. He landed like 30 more significant strikes on the feet than Pettis. He was doing a good job with his right straights, lead left hooks, and being defensively sound in the boxing and striking department overall. But really, Cejudo took Pettis down and just controlled him there. Pettis was doing a really good job of not allowing Cejudo to pass his guard by doing the lockdown with his left arm on put the crease of his arm over the neck of Cejudo, the hold in there. He was also grapevining his legs to keep Cejudo from passing. But one thing that I noticed is Cejudo was always trying to pass to the same side. Was always trying to go from full guard to half guard on the same side, which he should have tried to go to the other side, because Pettis was doing just a phenomenal job holding him there. But so Cejudo did nearly nothing on the ground, and that's where, if I look at the stats, if I can't. UFC's website kind of sucks on this kind of thing. Yes, pile of shit. Okay. 9 minutes and 35 seconds. So nearly 2 entire rounds Cejudo spent on top control on the ground while still only landing 85 total strikes. That's not great. That's not an exciting fight. Pettis is a really young dude. He'll be back. What's next for Henry Cejudo? I think that he's the clear number 2 fighter in the flyweight division. And I think that really Adrian Namajunas says they won money on 3 fights, only lost on Overeem. Oh, we shouldn't have played Overeem. Let's look at the UFC Pick'em. I got Holloway versus Aldo exactly correct. So if you watched my, I went 11 and 13. I got 4th place on UFC Pick'em. Well, let's look at MMA Mania's UFC Pick'em for this event. In 1st place was Benjamin, 11 out of 13. 2nd place, Bones, 11 out of 13. 3rd place, one UFC Addict. I believe that is Stanley Jasinski, 10 out of 13. I got more right than him, but I still got 4th place, 11 out of 13. Tommy Guns tied me for 4th with 10 out of 13 and 228.50 for points. That's how MMA Mania finished. Pal Lore says Cejudo dominated the clinch and the ground. Yes, but it just wasn't exciting. You know, it was a low point of the fight card. That's right, Stan Jasinski. I knew it, buddy. Michael Bisping is correct. Aldo's time is up against top tier. Eddie Alvarez had a great game plan against Gaethje. Cejudo is a stud, and Francis Ngannou is a freak of nature. Medeiros and Cowboy are warriors. Give the UFC a solid B+. The prelims started good, but there were a few duds. That's Eddie Diaz says that. Other than Frankie fighting Holloway, I would like to see Chad Mendes fight Holloway. Great wrestling and throws bombs. Not sure, but he should be coming off suspension soon, right? Yeah, I think so. You might be right. Let's talk about Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje. So Gaethje was doing pretty well early. He landed a lot of low kicks on Eddie Alvarez. But in the latter portion of the 1st round and most of the 2nd round, Gaethje went away from those low kicks. Perhaps it was a little bit, Eddie Alvarez was doing amazing work defensively, but Gaethje didn't throw too many of those low kicks. What Eddie Alvarez did amazingly tonight was he fucking showed really good cardio tonight, really good volume. His jab was, for me, the story of the night. He was doing amazing with the jab to deter the forward pressure of Justin Gaethje. Jabbed him over and over and over again, and very stiff jabs, very powerful jabs. And then he was ripping good hooks to the body. He was doing the Eddie Alvarez thing like he does a lot. You know, he'll rip a right hook to the body, left hook to the body, then the same thing upstairs. He would like jab, right hook a whole bunch of times. And even though he wasn't checking those low kicks, he still did really good once his lead leg, his left leg, became so injured that he could hardly walk forward. He couldn't put pressure on Justin Gaethje, so he would switch stance to the southpaw. He was still doing like the same game plan, the jab and then left hook to the body. You could see in, I believe it was the later portion of round 2 and definitely in round 3, those body shots from Eddie Alvarez were really hurting Gaethje, and he started to drop his hands lower. Then that would make the jab and then right straight, or basically a wide right from Eddie Alvarez, more prone to landing. They had a better chance of landing on Gaethje because Gaethje was dropping his hands to protect the body. And oftentimes they would get into a clinch position where Eddie would have a single tie with his left hand, and he would hit Gaethje with uppercuts in that clinch. And Gaethje was, instead of trying to fight off that hand and to get out of there, Gaethje would just kept kicking the lead leg of Eddie Alvarez, which I thought was weird. You should get out of that thing. I'm like, okay, maybe. It seemed like he was about to finish the fight with those low kicks, but Eddie did that a whole bunch of times where he would just uppercut and Gaethje was just not paying it much respect. And then when the fight ended at 3:59 of the third round, Eddie had the single plum and then kneed Gaethje to the face and sent him face down on the canvas. I believe he ate one shot after that or maybe 2 shots from Alvarez after that, but incredible performance from Eddie Alvarez. I thought he was going to get hurt more than that. Gaethje landed some pretty good left hooks, but other than that, Eddie controlled the majority of this fight. Some good left hooks from Gaethje, some good outside and inside low kicks in the lead leg of Alvarez from Gaethje, but Eddie Alvarez, he was also threatening level changes. Like he took Gaethje down a couple of times, I believe a couple times. One time, but then he was threatening level changes with his shoulders and with his head, just with feints, which would open up Gaethje to the more body shots and the uppercuts. He level changed fake and then uppercut Gaethje. Phenomenal performance from Eddie Alvarez. He said he doesn't care about belts right now. He only cares about the title of being the most violent man on the planet. Dingo Diggler says that was pre-UFC Eddie, a true animal. Joshua Pope says Eddie and Justin, one of 2 Fight of the Night bonus winners. Zach Gersk says, I want to know what happened in the Gaethje's camp. He seemed gassed fast and kept coming forward head down. He always comes forward head down like that because he eats punches on the front of his head. And I realized this a couple of days ago. I should have done my research before betting on Gaethje. But so Gaethje, that's one thing that was a weapon, a defensive weapon for Gaethje when he fought Michael Johnson. So he moves forward with his head down like this, so he eats punches on the front of the head, which is super solid, and it will rattle your brain less. So the straight punches from Michael Johnson were just landing right there, and Michael Johnson couldn't hurt him. But Eddie Alvarez always throws hooks. So with the head down, throwing hooks, it's more liable to shake you loose. That was one thing that Eddie did phenomenal. Also, why did he gas? Because Eddie was ripping some fucking ferocious hooks to the body. I'd like to see a breakdown of where Eddie Alvarez punched. Oh, we can see it. So 13% of Eddie Alvarez's 162 punches landed to the body of Justin Gaethje. So let me do some quick math just so we know. So Eddie Alvarez landed 21, I think they're probably all hooks, 21 hooks to the body of Justin Gaethje. I mean, fuck. If you ate one hook to the body from Eddie Alvarez, you'd go down or be really tired. So that's what I'm talking about. Chris Pate says, tired of the terminology of a guy getting starched. Please stop. Did I say that? I don't think I did I? Gaethje is the new Korean zombie. Brian Stan and Michael Johnson should throw more uppercuts to neutralize Justin. Looks like Eddie instead of Stan's advice. Stan said that Michael Johnson should throw more uppercuts to neutralize Justin's. Yeah. Sorry, Robert Martin, that was jumbled, but exactly right. The uppercuts and the hooks, because Gaethje likes to put his head down. That's one reason why Eddie Alvarez defeated Justin Gaethje tonight. Let's move down. Tisha, the Tiny Tornado Torres, defeated Michelle Watterson. Unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. Basically, Tisha was the more physically imposing person in this fight, and she hit with more ferocity. Her overhand right cracked Michelle Watterson quite a bit. Tisha pushed Michelle up against the fence a few times and was hitting Michelle with some short elbows in the clinch that seemed to hurt Michelle Waterson and also made her a little bit dejected. What's next for Tisha Torres? I think that she should get a title shot against Thug Rose Namajunas. Why? Because she's only had one loss in her entire mixed martial arts career. It was the Thug Rose Namajunas via decision. Both women have gotten better, and actually, I think Thug Rose is going to rematch Joanna Jędrzejczyk next, but I think that fight makes sense. Tisha Torres. Oh, also Thug Rose should fight Jessica Andrade. Man, Tisha Torres could get a title shot. She's right up there in contention. If Joanna fights Rose immediately rematch, then we could do Tisha versus Jessica Andrade, or Tisha versus Claudia Gadelha. But I think that Tisha is in line soon for a title shot. That's for certain. So how about let's go with Tisha Torres versus Claudia Gadelha. Got to get the rubber match going for Tisha versus Rose. If no Joanna rematch, I agree. So who to look great tonight? AJ Shipp said that. Andrade has Karolina Kowalkiewicz next. Oh, fuck. Andrade is going to brutalize Karolina Kowalkiewicz. So either Claudia Gadelha. What's Stan say? I thought Ngannou killed Overeem. Uberim is missed. Time for him to retire. Yes, probably true. Do you think that Alistair Overeem could win the Bellator heavyweight tournament? I think he might be able to. I'm a little sad tonight. I did a live video where I basically commentated on the fights on MMA Mania's YouTube channel. I changed the settings so that there would be less latency, but I think that it might not have saved to the YouTube channel, and I might have lost it forever. So my boss will be upset with me about that. I don't know what's happening exactly. Hopefully it'll save. You guys don't care. Tisha and Waterson should have just scissored and... Oh, Jesse, come on, don't say that. We can't be saying things like that. AJ Shipp says that Overeem has been KO'd way too many times. 11. So. Bellator, Land of the Dinosaurs. I know this all old people. That's from Pianya Tamu. Let's talk about some highlights from the rest of the card. Yancy Medeiros versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira. I was getting ready to do that video that I just mentioned on the YouTube channel, so I don't exactly remember the techniques used, but Oliveira got dropped early from Yancy Medeiros, I believe, probably with a right straight. Broke Oliveira's nose. Then Oliveira got back up to his feet, got the fight into the clinch, held it there for a while, then kneed Yancy Medeiros to the dick so that they had to have a pause in the action, and Oliveira regained his composure. Then he came back at Yancy and landed, like, I'm exaggerating, but 100 hard shots on Yancy Medeiros' face. And Yancy just ate him. He was doing a good job of rolling them off of himself. And then Yancy landed maybe a third of the strikes that Oliveira did, but Yancy landed really hard, and Oliveira was affected more by Yancy's strikes than Oliveira was. And in the third round, after Oliveira went for a takedown, Yancy had great balance and switched it, got on top of Oliveira. Oliveira got back to his feet, and as soon as he got back to his feet, he just kind of like looked like zombie mode, leaned against the fence, and Medeiros put him down, TKO in the third round. But that fight was incredibly fun, back and forth, amazing action. I know Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje was fun, but for my money, fight of the night was Yancy Medeiros versus Alex Oliveira, because Eddie Alvarez versus Justin Gaethje, it did not have half as many ebbs or flows as Yancy Medeiros versus Alex Oliveira. While I'm thinking about it, guys, I want to look up the performance bonuses, the official ones. I'm going to give performance bonuses to Holloway and Ngannou, and my fight of the night's going to Yancy Medeiros versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Let's check and see if I'm correct real quick. Performance bonuses. Oh. Nice. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm sure somebody said it already. But Alvarez and Gaethje, fight of the night. Both guys get $50,000. And Oliveira versus Medeiros, both guys also get $50,000. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I would also, as we always do on the Flyin Brian J post-fight shows, because I'm not actually giving anybody $50,000, an extra 50 G's goes to Francis the Predator Ngannou for his starching, haha, I'm kidding, for his brutal knockout of Alistair Overeem in the first round. Adrian Namajunas says that Cowboy was pretty tough as well. Yes, I believe so. Oliveira's gas tank lost him that fight. Jesse Payne, I disagree. He was hurt very early, and when you get hurt very early, your gas tank will dwindle like that. So it's not necessarily that he didn't prepare enough for that fight in the cardio department, but he got hurt a lot, and that will take anybody's endurance away from them. Max Holloway, Yancy Medeiros, and Eddie Alvarez, they all have in common that Dustin Poirier has already fucked them all up. Brett Boyd says that. How about if Poirier could drop to 145 pounds for his next fight, and then if he wins that one, we give him a featherweight title shot? I'd watch that rematch. Let's move down on the card. Paul Felder defeated Alex Oliveira via TKO elbows in the second round. First round, Oliveira got the fight to the ground and had Paul Felder in a Darce choke that, like, normal people would go to sleep in, right? That fucking thing was in deep. And Paul Felder did, like, one of the exact wrong things to defend that choke and still somehow got out of it. And in the second round, even at the end of the first round, he stayed on the ground and hit Oliveira with some ground and pound. Second round, the same thing happened. Oliveira goes for a takedown. Paul Felder gets top position, and instead of pulling out of the guard and trying to win the fight on the feet, Paul Felder went with a ground and pound on Oliveira. Hit Oliveira with like a couple of good left elbows on the ground that Oliveira actually tapped out to. The referee didn't see it. Paul Felder said he noticed it but didn't know if the fight was actually going to be over, so he just kept hammering Oliveira. The referee stopped the fight shortly thereafter. Impressive performance from Paul Felder, and also, you know, a typical performance from Charles Oliveira. Can't get the submission, you kind of give up. The rest of the night, what should we talk about? Yancy Medeiros finished Oliveira. David Tamer defeated Jacare close via decision. Felice Herrig defeated Courtney Casey via split decision. Amanda Bobby Cooper TKO'd Angela Magana in the second round. Magana looked a lot smaller than Bobby Cooper, and also Amanda Bobby Cooper looked to be the more, well, she used that size to be more physically imposing, but the more mean fighter in there, and Angela Magana didn't have a chance. The first round seemed to be 10-8 for Cooper, and then she finished the fight with 26 seconds to go in round number 2. Don't really need to talk about it that much. Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Sabah Homasi was an incredible 4-minute and 21-second fight. Both guys hurt each other. They were exchanging in a phone booth up against the fence. Razak Al Hassan dropped Homasi with a right to the temple. Fight was called over. Light heavyweights, Dominic Reyes and Jeremy Kimball. Kimball looked pretty good early. He got Dominic to the ground. Then Dominic Reyes reversed it, got the rear naked choke. Dominic Reyes is one of these light heavyweights that is really mobile. He hits hard. He's very well rounded. He has a wrestling background, and he's a breath of fresh air to the UFC light heavyweight division. If only Nikita Krylov were still here, I'd love to watch Dominic Reyes fight Nikita Krylov. And in the opening fight, Justin Willis versus Alan Crowder. Basically, Justin Willis walked through anything Crowder had to offer and just obliterated him. There was a time when Crowder was throwing a bunch of slow kicks. Willis would catch him, hold him with one hand, and then just fucking brutalize him with his available arm. Was never competitive. Justin Willis with a huge victory there. So that's the entire fight card. Have we missed anything? Ngannou had a KO that will live on a highlight reel to the end of time. That was nasty. Oh, the couchless gentlemen are here. That's funny. All right. Adrian Namunis, it was so funny watching Joe Rogan say he is in trouble. He got more out of there, and then the guy wins. I mean, like on Paul Felder versus Charles Oliveira. Well, guys, how many times does Herb Dean get to make bad calls? Yeah, I don't know. Joe Rogan always says he's one of the best in the business, but he's really not. He's really not. He's made a lot of mistakes in high-profile situations. Zach Gersk, what did I score the Felice Herrig fight? 29-28 Herrig. Like every round was nearly even, and Herrig was the one pressing forward, landing the heavier strikes. I can't remember which rounds they were, but in 2 rounds for sure, Herrig was landing the heavier strikes. And she was pressing forward the whole time. I also didn't like that Courtney Casey, even when she would hit Herrig with like a decent shot, Courtney would just like, yep, look, she would like admire her work and just look at it. So she would hit Herrig with like a right straight or something. It would push Herrig off of her forward pressure, send her backward a little bit, and instead of following up with 2 to 3 strikes after that, maybe a kick, she would just like look at her and be like, yeah, look what I did. Look, I kind of hurt her. When Herrig would land a big strike, she would follow up. And I know that Casey landed like in the whole fight a couple of more strikes than Herrig, and Herrig had a takedown. The aggression, the octagon control, and basically fight IQ won Herrig that fight. I also didn't like how Courtney Casey all of a sudden got mad and was flipping stuff off, and then I didn't like how Casey seemed like very shocked when she lost the fight. Like, do more. Like I said, follow up with strikes. Don't just be like upset that you didn't win. Do something. Like Jacare Close, just getting upset that his opponent wouldn't let him hit him. Casey, you hurt her a couple times with those right straights. Follow it up. I like her, but he makes a lot of bad calls. James Hayes. Felice moved forward. That's why she won, basically. And her strikes seem to be more significant. I know that on the stats, Courtney Casey landed more significant strikes, but the strikes that Felice Herrig were the ones that were more significant. You get what I'm saying? Like the strikes that Herrig landed meant more to the fight than the ones that Casey landed. Zach Gersh asked about the Jacare Close fight. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Jacare Close after that. He's fighting a counter striker, and he gets mad when the guy is trying to counter strike him. So he just stands in the middle and like throws a temper tantrum. What the fuck, Jacare Close? I would have been so upset if he would have won. I loved that Casey and Herrig were taunting each other to bring it, and then neither of them brought it. Yeah, that's ridiculous. That was really stupid. Anyway, I think that we covered the fights pretty good in just 35 to 40 minutes. How long we've been? 38 and a half minutes. I think we've covered the fights pretty good. Haha, fight wasn't that close, but good one, James Hayes. So I think that we will end it there. I'll be back next week to do a pre-fight show for the next event, which is main evented by Cub Swanson versus Brian Ortega. And I'm sure that after one of those two wins that fight, we'll be talking about they deserve a title shot against Max Blessed Holloway. That's probably what we will be doing. So there's that. And I think that, you know what? Probably deservingly so. I'll probably pick Cub Swanson. I'd like for Brian Ortega to win, probably via 3rd round submission because that's his MO, and then get a title shot against Max Holloway. But anyway, we'll talk about it next week. I'll be doing a beer pairing video hopefully tomorrow so I can get my week on the road. And Yeah, that's it. Thank you all so very much for joining me. I will see you next week. Namaste. Oh, yeah, follow me on Twitter at Flyin Brian J. And if you drink, don't drive. Cheers.